confirmation from our very own Foreign Secretary Robin Cook, who's in the Far East at the moment, that Diana, Princess of Wales, has in fact been in that car accident.
Princess Diana's resting place has long been a symbol of both tragedy and enduring public fascination. For 27 years, her grave on a secluded island at Althorp remained untouched, shrouded in privacy and respect, until recently, when the tomb was reportedly opened under secretive circumstances. What could possibly prompt such an intimate site to be disturbed after all this time? And what unexpected discoveries inside have sent shockwaves through her family and the royal establishment? This story uncovers hidden messages and documents that change everything we thought we knew about the people's princess. The reason for opening the tomb. Princess Diana's grave remained untouched for nearly 3 decades, a solemn resting place set apart on a small private island at Althorp, surrounded by water and accessible only by boat. The decision to reportedly open her tomb after 27 years was not taken lightly. Officially, the primary concern was structural. Decades of exposure to natural elements and water raised fears about the integrity and preservation of the burial chamber. Over time, water could seep in, potentially damaging the resting place of one of the world's most beloved figures. Diana's brother, Earl Spencer, commissioned an engineering survey a few years prior to assess the tomb's condition. The findings reportedly revealed issues serious enough to demand action, although they did not constitute an immediate emergency. Unlike many royal or aristocratic graves, which are typically located inside churches or family mausoleums, Diana's resting place was unconventional, a choice symbolizing her unique legacy but also raising technical challenges. The island's distinctive environment made long-term structural stability uncertain. Legal factors also influenced the timing. British laws surrounding private burials involve specific regulations and periodic reviews after certain time frames, often decades, to ensure ongoing compliance and site maintenance. Although these rules are complex and vary by region, the 27-year mark likely coincided with legal obligations connected to private estates and burial sites. This provided additional justification for opening the tomb at this point. Beyond structural and legal reasons, reports indicate that Diana's sons, Princes William and Harry, personally wished to verify the condition of their mother's resting place. They sought reassurance that the site remained secure, peaceful, and preserved against the wear of time. As custodians of her memory, they wanted to know that nothing in the physical resting place of their mother threatened the dignity she deserved. The decision to open the tomb was therefore a convergence of practical concerns and deeply personal motivations. With the world's eyes long fixed on Diana's life and legacy, the private family's actions were meant to protect and honor her memory. Still, the choice to disturb such a hallowed site inevitably sparked curiosity and uncertainty about what might be found inside. On a quiet day, with the estate closed to visitors and details kept under wraps, a select team was assembled to carry out the careful operation. Security was tight, secrecy paramount, and the press kept unaware until after the tomb's opening. The operation was measured, respectful, and designed to avoid any damage or disturbance beyond what was necessary. The gravesite's environment, while fragile, was in better shape than expected. Initial fears about water damage and deterioration of Diana's coffin and burial chamber turned out to be less severe. This brought some relief to those present and emphasized the care taken in the tomb's original construction and maintenance. Yet, even as the team focused on structural elements, an unexpected twist awaited, something buried alongside Diana that had never been disclosed or seen before. This surprise would transform what began as a routine assessment into a moment with profound emotional and historical significance. The events that followed inside that burial chamber would soon reverberate far beyond Althorp, touching not only those present, but the royal family and the public worldwide. The tomb opening operation. The reported task of opening Princess Diana's tomb was approached with extraordinary caution and reverence. Experts in preservation, engineering, and funeral services carefully coordinated every step to ensure the process honored her legacy. Arriving before dawn at the Althorp estate, The team operated under conditions few outsiders would ever witness. The estate itself was sealed off, with staff largely kept in the dark to maintain confidentiality. Among those present was Earl Spencer, Diana's brother and hereditary custodian of the family estate where the tomb is located. Reports about the attendance of William and Harry vary, though it is widely agreed that William was on site at some point during the opening. Harry's presence remains uncertain, with some sources indicating he may have participated remotely via video link from California, reflecting the delicacy of the event and the attention it commanded. The entire process spanned several hours. No detail was rushed or overlooked. Every movement was meticulously documented, with engineers taking detailed notes and photographers capturing the unfolding moments for historical records. This methodical approach underlined the operation's solemnity and the profound respect held for Diana's memory. When the burial chamber came into view for the first time since 1997, the atmosphere shifted to one of quiet reflection. Those present stood silently, moved by the gravity of the occasion. This was more than a technical inspection. It was a rare reunion with a beloved, departed life made tangible once again. The coffin remained unchanged after the initial fears because its complete state could not damage the protective system that maintained the chamber's contents. The team members experienced a strong feeling of relief. The people involved experienced heightened emotional states when the investigation moved from examining building elements to studying personal connections between people and enigmatic elements. The unexpected outcome occurred when officials discovered additional items which didn't exist on the original funeral documentation. The hidden objects, which appeared to have been secretly installed during the funeral or at a later time, showed that there existed an undisclosed story. The items held personal value because they functioned as Diana's dedicated messages, which she wanted to be found only after the tomb would experience future openings. The entire operation received a complete transformation through this discovery. The primary security measure which had been implemented developed into a critical enlightenment event which would change all future research about Diana's last wishes and her private mind. The family members initiated immediate actions to determine what information should remain confidential and what details they should share with others while explaining the situation. The family members requested all non-family members to leave as the team evaluated the future possibilities regarding their research findings. The emotional responses shared publicly afterward hinted at just how important and unexpected the findings truly were. The tomb opening thus became not just a preservation effort, but a gateway to secrets long held beneath the serene surface of Diana's resting place. The unexpected discoveries. When the reported burial chamber was finally accessed, alongside the well-known mementos from Diana's life, several previously unknown items emerged. Among them were sealed letters, documents, and personal belongings that had never been formally acknowledged. These items spoke to a side of Diana's story kept carefully under wraps for nearly 3 decades. The letters were sealed envelopes carefully prepared by Diana before her death, addressed to specific individuals close to her: her sons, William and Harry, her brother Charles Spencer, and possibly others whose identities remain confidential. These letters were intended to be opened only when her tomb was disturbed, signaling Diana's awareness that this moment might one day come. What makes these letters particularly extraordinary is the forethought they reveal. Diana seemed to anticipate her own mortality and the lasting effects of her life on those she loved. The presence of these final messages alters our understanding of how she prepared for the future and the legacy she intended to leave behind. Beyond letters, other documents surfaced: records related to her experiences within the royal family, details from her marriage, and notes concerning palace affairs. Though their full contents are undisclosed, sources suggest they challenge parts of the official narrative and provide insight into her personal struggles and observations. Personal items accompanied these papers and letters, chosen for their intimate significance. These objects likely connect to moments and relationships that were never publicized, adding depth and poignancy to Diana's posthumous communication. Even more startling was an unnamed item described as shocking by those familiar with Diana, though creeping into speculation rather than confirmed fact. Whatever it was, it underscored the tomb's role not just as a final resting place, but as a carefully curated time capsule, a message sent to future generations. The discovery redefines Diana's tomb as more than a sacred memorial. It becomes her voice reaching beyond death. Her ability to communicate and connect, famously demonstrated during her lifetime, appears to have extended into this final act of preparation. With news of these discoveries leaking, despite the family's wish for privacy, the world now grapples with the implications, questions about what these items mean for Diana's legacy, her family, and the monarchy itself. The story is only just beginning to unfold. As this private treasure trove emerges, the personal intersects with the public, and the true impact of what was found has yet to be fully realized. These revelations set a new, startling chapter in the story of Diana's life, drawing us deeper into the heart of her experience and the ongoing legacy she shaped. Diana's letters to loved ones. Among the most remarkable discoveries inside Princess Diana's tomb were rumored to be a series of sealed letters she had carefully prepared before her death. These letters were addressed to specific people she deeply loved: her sons William and Harry, her brother Charles Spencer, and possibly others whose identities remain private. Diana had arranged for these envelopes to be opened only when her tomb was accessed, revealing a deliberate choice to communicate with the future beyond her lifetime. The letter to William delved deeply into his future role as king. Diana wrote with a mix of insight and tenderness, discussing the weight of responsibility that would one day rest on his shoulders. She expressed hopes for the kind of monarch he would become, advising him on pitfalls to avoid and the importance of authentic connection and love. This was not merely a mother's message, but a guide intended to shape a future leader's path. In her letter to Harry, Diana's tone grew more emotional and intimate. She knew Harry might struggle more acutely with her absence, understanding his sensitive nature and need for reassurance. She encouraged him to remain true to himself, despite royal expectations and traditions, urging him to carve a path defined by sincerity rather than show. Her words reflected a hope that he would protect his spirit and stay grounded amidst royal pressures. Diana's letter to her brother Charles focused on family matters and the Spencer legacy. She entrusted him with requests about how she wished to be remembered and how her memory should be safeguarded. This correspondence highlighted Diana's enduring bond with her family and underscored the protective role Charles would play in preserving her story. Other letters remain under seal, and their recipients are undisclosed, fueling speculation about Diana's private relationships and the people she valued most. The existence of these hidden messages opens a window into a deliberate and private preparation for the future, suggesting Diana anticipated that her voice would continue to matter long after her passing. The letters from Diana contain two types of information about her life, which show her deep understanding of the problems that would come to her family members after her death. The messages served as a medium for her to deliver comfort and knowledge, while she provided a maternal connection which lasted beyond her death. When someone opens these letters, they gain new power because the letters can change their personal stories while providing clarity to people who remain after their passing. Diana used her exceptional ability to see future events and dedicated time to her legacy when she wrote her letters to others. The letter contained specific details about her funeral because she wanted to explain her future plans to friends who would later read it. The woman showed her determination to create positive results for the people she loved most, despite facing difficult life obstacles. She chose to share her innermost thoughts through personal letters, which she planned to conceal at her burial site, because she believed this method would create an everlasting link that connected the two time periods. The letters changed the tomb from a place where people rest into a dynamic display which shows Diana's ongoing affection and protection. The letters carry an emotional burden which Diana's words will deliver to the world when they become public. The words will present a view into a mother who loved her children and a woman whose actions transformed royal history. The presence of these letters leads naturally to the other closely guarded materials found in the tomb, documents that dive even deeper into Diana's experience within the royal family. The hidden documents. Alongside the rumored personal letters, A collection of confidential documents inside Diana's tomb has emerged, shedding light on parts of her life that had previously remained private. These papers are thought to include detailed records of Diana's time in the royal family, spanning everything from personal reflections to observations on palace affairs and her marriage. The contents, while kept under strict confidentiality, suggest a complex narrative that challenges official accounts. Some of the documents reportedly outline financial arrangements, agreements, and broken promises within the palace. Diana meticulously recorded what she was told and witnessed regarding her marriage and the broader royal environment, highlighting tensions and difficulties she often faced. This adds a practical dimension to what has sometimes been viewed only as emotional turmoil. Beyond marital concerns, the documents reflect Diana's perspective on palace decisions she disagreed with and behavior she found troubling. Although an integral part of the royal household, she often felt like an outsider, seeing events and relationships from a distinct and critical vantage point. These writings may offer alternative views that stand apart from the carefully managed royal narrative. There are also notes about specific incidents that were previously covered up or misrepresented, according to sources. These records could provide new context to well-known events, adding layers of complexity to public understanding of Diana's life and legacy. The possibility of previously unseen insights challenges conventional wisdom about the royal family's internal dynamics. Security and safety concerns feature prominently in the documents as well. Diana reportedly kept notes on conversations that felt threatening and on incidents that raised fears for her well-being. Her famous letter predicting her own fatal car accident is known, but these additional materials may shed further light on how seriously Diana perceived dangers around her. The family must decide which path to take regarding their future plans for these documents. The available options for these documents include resealing them at the tomb site and creating a private archive, and allowing historians to access specific materials under controlled conditions. The three options will create major effects, which will impact people's privacy rights and their ability to access their historical records and their rights to know about public matters. William and Harry hold opposing views regarding the subject matter which they discuss. William wants to keep his family history secret because he believes that this method will help him protect the family honor. Harry supports unrestricted access to information, which shows his commitment to current public discussions about government transparency and the changing ways in which people see royal family members. Earl Spencer operates as the primary decision-maker who manages Althorp while controlling access to its protected documents. He keeps his public remarks limited because he wants to protect his sister's memory by handling the media attention that comes from public exposure. The decision to release or hide these documents will impact both Diana's legacy and the royal family's internal dynamics. These concealed documents will bring essential new information to a story that maintains its ability to mesmerize audiences while it develops. If opened, the pages may recalibrate decades of assumption in a single stroke. If sealed, they will harden into legend, fueling speculation instead of certainty. Either choice transforms silence into statement. In preserving or unveiling them, the family does more than manage records. It defines how truth itself will endure. With these unseen letters and documents revealing new dimensions of Diana's life, the reverberations extend far beyond the tomb and into the heart of history itself. Family and royal reactions. The discovery of previously unknown items in Princess Diana's tomb reportedly sparked immediate and complex reactions within both the Spencer family and the royal household. While the Spencer family maintains rights to the materials found at their ancestral estate, the revelation sent ripples through Buckingham Palace and beyond. News of the tomb's opening and its hidden contents reached the palace quickly, prompting urgent discussions about how to handle this sensitive information. King Charles, Diana's ex-husband, faced a particularly delicate position. On one hand, these materials belonged to the mother of his children and held deep emotional significance. On the other, the documents and letters potentially exposed private aspects of their troubled marriage and family life. According to sources, The contents could impact Charles's already complicated legacy, heightening the personal and public stakes involved. Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, reportedly reacted with fear and concern. Diana's well-known feelings towards her were no secret, and the possibility of renewed public scrutiny or accusations arising from the documents created tension. The palace tried to gauge the potential fallout, fearing new waves of anger or negative publicity aimed at Camilla if sensitive details came to light. Informal requests were reportedly made by palace officials to Earl Spencer, seeking information or limited access to the documents. These negotiations, however, were met with resistance. As the rightful custodian of Althorp and these private items, Spencer has emphasized his family's control and discretion, declining to cede oversight to the palace. This standoff highlights long-standing tensions between the Spencer family and the royal institution regarding control over Diana's memory and legacy. For years, the palace has managed the public narrative surrounding Diana's story, balancing honor with image preservation. Now, uncertainty looms about who truly holds authority over the untold chapters of her life. The royal family holds differing opinions about their matters. Prince William, who will become king but also belongs to the Spencer family, chooses to protect his royal reputation through maintaining his personal boundaries. He reportedly intends to keep the materials hidden from public access because he wants to create a safe environment for his family while protecting their secret information from public examination. Prince Harry, on the other hand, advocates for transparency. He supports greater openness about Diana's legacy and the realities she faced, viewing this as a vital step toward truth and healing. His perspective shows how people demand both reforms and truthful accounts of the monarchy's past. The brothers' dispute creates an emotional dimension to the existing contentious discussion because it shows how Diana still affects both personal relationships and institutional operations. It raises questions about identity, loyalty, and the future direction of the royal family. Earl Spencer's role as steward of both Althorp and Diana's narrative remains critical. He uses his careful method to protect his sister's memory, while meeting both public needs and his family's need for privacy. The resolution of this deadlock remains uncertain because the situation holds maximum importance. The family must now make urgent choices between public disclosure and private matters while they deal with these public reactions. The path ahead is as sensitive and complex as the legacy Diana left behind. Behind palace walls and across ancestral grounds, emotion moves as quietly as strategy. Grief collides with duty. Memory confronts monarchy. Each decision carries consequence, not only for reputations, but for relationships still tender with history. Whatever unfolds next will test loyalty, reshape narratives, and reveal where power truly rests. The question of whether these revelations should be shared publicly now leads us to the heart of the ongoing debate within the family and beyond. The debate over disclosure. The rumored discovery of Diana's letters and documents has ignited a heated debate over how, or even whether, these materials should be made public. On one side, there are those who believe that sharing these insights aligns with Diana's spirit and her known desire for openness regarding her life and struggles. These advocates emphasize that her words and experiences provide valuable context and lessons not only for her family, but for society at large. Supporters of disclosure argue that making the materials accessible could help rewrite the historical narrative, shedding light on truths long obscured by carefully controlled royal messaging. Transparency, they say, would honor Diana's courage and humanity by exposing the challenges she faced within the monarchy and affirming her enduring voice. Conversely, a strong case is made for discretion and privacy, especially by members of the royal family, like Prince William. Protecting Diana's personal writings and family documents from public exposure is seen as a way to preserve dignity and respect. Advocates of privacy warn that releasing the materials risks sensationalism, misinterpretation, and could reopen wounds that have begun to heal. This side stresses the importance of safeguarding the family, suggesting that some matters are best kept within trusted hands to prevent exploitation by media and public curiosity. They view the decision not only as a matter of personal respect, but as a protective measure for the royal institution's stability. William and Harry show their different views, which create conflict between three major topics, which include monarchy and media and their family heritage. Harry wants to achieve transparency because he demands truthfulness about the royal family problems which have existed from past times to the present day. William needs to proceed with caution because he serves as the future king who must balance institutional customs with current community needs. Earl Spencer's position is equally nuanced. He must assess whether to protect his family's private matters or make the documents accessible for public use, which includes safeguarding his sister's memory. His cautious, measured stance has so far withheld public disclosure, signaling recognition of the sensitive nature of these materials. Historians and royal watchers await potential access to the documents, recognizing their significance for understanding Diana's life and the institution she challenged. The release will occur through a slow process which the organization will control if they choose to make any documents available. The public shows ongoing interest because people experience both respect and curiosity about the situation. Many hope these revelations will provide closure or clarity on long-standing mysteries that surrounded Diana's life and death. Others worry about the potential impact on her loved ones and the monarchy's reputation. The battle over disclosure rights demonstrates how public interest about a person and their private matters intersects with their enduring social reputation. The outcome will influence not only how Diana is remembered, but also how the royal family manages sensitive histories in the digital age. In the end, the question reaches beyond archives and headlines. It confronts a deeper tension between revelation and restraint, between public hunger and private grief. Whatever path is chosen will ripple outward, shaping institutional trust, redefining narrative authority, and determining whether history remembers this moment as illumination or intrusion. As this debate continues to unfold, it echoes the very tension Diana herself navigated between public scrutiny and private truth, reminding us that her story remains profoundly alive. Diana's enduring legacy. The recent revelations from Princess Diana's tomb reportedly add a profound new chapter to a life that continues to captivate and inspire millions around the world. More than 2 decades after her passing, Diana's story remains deeply relevant, revealing layers of a woman who anticipated how her legacy might live on. These secret letters and documents portray a thoughtful, complex figure, preparing carefully to communicate beyond the confines of her lifetime. Diana's ability to connect with the public and express empathy set her apart in royal history. Her famous panorama interview and charitable work demonstrated a rare openness, and now these newly discovered materials affirm her determination to share her truth even after death. They suggest that she understood the power of legacy, not just in memory, but as an active influence shaping the future. Her messages to William and Harry emphasize values like authenticity, love, and courage in the face of royal expectations. These insights provide a generational bridge, guiding her sons through challenges she knew they would face. This enduring maternal influence enriches their public roles and personal identities. At the same time, the confidential documents paint a portrait of a woman keenly aware of palace politics, struggles, and dangers. They reinforce her position as both an insider and an outlier, someone who witnessed contradictions and conflicts in royal life that few outside the family understood. This nuanced view invites a reconsideration of Diana not merely as a tragic figure, but as a keen observer and agent of change. The discovery of this carefully curated time capsule requires people to think about historical preservation methods and the organizations that control essential stories about famous individuals. Diana created these materials because she wanted to maintain her personal identity through her own voice, which would exist outside of official biographies and media representation. This establishes fresh components, which join in existing discussions about memory and truth. Her legacy represents a significant cultural transformation which has changed how people view royal transparency and privacy and the contemporary role of monarchy. The findings have initiated debates which examine how public scrutiny affects personal life and whether people should be accountable for their actions. The story of Diana continues to drive these essential discussions. The conflict between her sons about document handling reveals how people must navigate between their need for privacy and their duty to serve public interests. Diana's enduring presence creates human connection because she shows how people should experience their legacy. People now view Diana's grave as more than her burial site, because it represents her first grave, which became her everlasting resting place from where she delivers eternal messages to her followers. The world now recognizes her enduring presence in the hearts of thousands and the ongoing transformation of royal history. The new discoveries create an opportunity for people worldwide to rediscover their connection with Diana and her vital essence. Her influence extends throughout the years because it continues to shape modern discussions about family and leadership and belonging. The complete tale about her life remains yet to be told. Yet even in silence, her voice resounds with startling clarity. It echoes through shifting headlines, through evolving institutions, through the quiet reflections of those who once felt seen by her compassion. Diana's story refuses containment. It breathes, adapts, and challenges authority, urging each new generation to question power, protect tenderness, and redefine what true royalty means. Princess Diana's tomb has revealed more than a resting place. It holds a legacy carefully preserved for the future. Her letters and documents deepen our understanding of her life and the lasting influence she intended to have. If you found this story compelling, be sure to like and subscribe for more insights into untold histories and lasting legacies.